Roderick Usher sees a mysterious figure watching him from the church's balcony during his children's funeral. Seeing that her grandfather looks disturbed, Lenore asks if he's okay. Roderick simply says that she's here. As Roderick exits the church, the press scrambles to take photos and get his comment. Elsewhere, Augusta Pan is looking at news clippings about the recent deaths of Roderick's children when his assistant walks in and says that Roderick wants to talk. So, later that night, Pan meets up with Roderick, who is inside an old decrepit house that turns out to be his childhood home. Roderick reveals that he bought the house and the entire village to use it as a pick-me-up during tough times. When Pan asks what he wants to talk about, Roderick says he will confess to all 73 charges against him and even throw in a bonus, which is how all his children truly died. Since Roderick has waived his right to an attorney, Pan sits down to accommodate him and listen to his story. Roderick says that to understand what happened, Pan needs to learn how he was raised. He shares the events that happened during his childhood at the very house they are in now. Roderick and his sister Madeline were raised alone by their mother, Eliza, who worked as the secretary of Fortunato's CEO in 1953. William Longfellow. Eliza had one rule for her children, and that was to never go to William's home. However, the curious children one day ignore their mother's rule and get caught snooping around William's home. Eliza quickly retrieves her children and promises William it will never happen again. As the siblings grew up, their mother ended up getting sick. They try to convince her to see a doctor, but she scolds them for not having strong faith. She brushes aside the thought of going to the hospital and takes 100 milligrams of Praise the Lord for her pain instead. Desperate to help ease their mother's suffering, the siblings go to William. They beg him to convince their mother to go to the hospital, hoping she will listen if he suggests it. Sadly, William denies their request and rudely tells them to get off his property. After a while, Eliza passes away. The siblings build a casket for their mother and work tirelessly together to bury her in their backyard. That night, the power goes out because of a storm. Roderick suddenly gets terrified after looking out the window and seeing their mother's grave open and her body gone. When the two go outside to investigate, they see their mother's tracks leading inside the house. As the siblings try to figure out what's happening, Eliza appears behind Roderick and chokes him. The siblings apologize for what they've done, and Eliza lets go of Roderick. They then follow her as she goes to William's house, where she chokes William and takes him with her to the afterlife. Confused, Pan asks Roderick why he's telling him the story when it doesn't seem to be related to his children's deaths. Roderick says he has to because his mother is standing behind him. Pan thinks it's just a scare tactic and doesn't turn around. Little did he know that a ghastly corpse-looking figure was actually standing behind him. The two then talk about the recent court hearing they attended about 2 weeks ago, where Pan's excellent oratory skills impressed Roderick. The entire Usher family attended the hearing and listened to Pan giving his statement. Pan is seeking justice for the thousands of people he believes fell victim to the products of Fortunato Pharma, operated by the Usher family. Pan explicitly points out that the Usher family has eluded all charges against them throughout the years because they have a Jedi Master lawyer protecting them. However, he says things will be different this time because someone from the Usher family is willing to speak against them. Everyone is shocked about Pan's revelation, including the Usher family. While Pan was made by the judge to strike his statement about an insider from the record, it already succeeded in ruffling the feathers of Roderick and his family. After the hearing, Roderick orders an emergency family meeting to discuss their next move. As for his children, they immediately start trying to figure out who's the informant in their family. And most of them initially guess it's Perry since he's an illegitimate child. Regardless of how they hate to see each other or how busy they are, Roderick's children are hell-bent on attending the meeting because they all fear being written off their father's will. While preparing for the dinner meeting, Juno, Roderick's latest wife, feels nervous because it's her first time hosting. Roderick calms her down, saying she has nothing to worry about and that all his children will love her because if not, they might get written off the will. Damn, his wife is young. The couple gets interrupted when a man named Don arrives and asks Roderick to talk with him in private. After talking with Don, Roderick finds himself lost in thought. Then, Juno tells him that Perry is there to see him. Roderick and Madeline meet with Perry and listen to his business pitch about a highly exclusive nightclub. Madeline and Roderick aren't impressed by his idea and decline the young man's proposals. Before she leaves the room, Madeline senses something is off with Roderick and asks if he's all right. He says he is and that he's right behind her. As Roderick takes one last sip of his drink, he suddenly gets startled as a woman appears before him, offering one more drink for the road. Then, in a blink of an eye, the woman disappears, and Roderick is alone in the room again. During dinner, Madeline makes everyone sign some paperwork. While going through it, the Usher siblings bicker with one another. Madeline eventually says that the one who betrayed their family and became the informant for the feds will pay dearly. On top of that, Roderick tells everyone that he'll give $50 million to the person who catches the rat in their family. In the present, Roderick tells Depan that dinner was the last time he saw his children alive and together in one room. Depan asks if Roderick is indirectly implying that he caused the death of his children. Roderick says no and clarifies that he was the reason why his children died, and not Depan. He adds that it was him and a mysterious woman whom he keeps having visions of. Roderick recalls the events that happened during New Year's Eve in 1979. He and Madeline enter a bar and are somewhat on edge. It seems they did something and plan to lay low inside the bar. The bartender Werner, who turns out to be the mysterious woman that Roderick keeps having visions of in the present, accommodates them even if she notices they've done something. Back in the present, Depan points out that Fortunato changed during that night. He says that many dream of learning what actually happened that night. Roderick recalls Werner talking to him and Madeline back then, saying their fates are about to change. It's as if Werner is some all-knowing being who has seen what would happen to the siblings. Returning near the present, near the end of the funeral of Roderick's children, he hallucinates about Werner. He also sees all 6 of his deceased children looking down at him from the church's balcony. When Roderick exits the church and is about to enter his car, he sees a horrifying jester inside. He then collapses after his nose starts bleeding. As Madeline rushes to his aid, Roderick looks at a raven perched on a post above him. He looks at it and thinks it will surely ruin his day if the bird decides to take a dump on him while he's helpless on the ground. Returning to 1979, a young Depan investigates a desecrated grave with the corpse missing. He believes it's a cover-up because the corpse, along with 5 others, belong to someone involved with the drug trials of Fortunato Foma. Although Depan is desperate to work on the case, his superior doesn't let him. In the present, Roderick and Depan talk about Ligodone, Fortunato's most successful product. Roderick refuses to take responsibility for the thousands of lives the pill has destroyed. He sticks with his promise that it's non-addictive despite others claiming it's not. After that, the two talk about the first of Roderick's children to recently pass away, Perry, or Prospero Usher. Depan recalls the gruesome circumstances of Perry's passing. Days after their family dinner, Perry wakes up in bed surrounded by women and chooses violence. He's upset because he thinks one of his girls stole his precious eggs from the fridge. It turns out that he's still harboring some ill feelings after his business proposal was rejected by Roderick. He later joins Frederick and PYM in a meeting about Fortunato's condemned buildings and testing facilities. While Freddy and PYM try to deny ownership of the buildings, Perry, who finds them interesting, keeps unknowingly showing signs that they own them. Despite PYM trying his best to Jedi mind trick the opposing faction, Freddy loses patience and drags Perry outside the meeting room. There, he confronts Perry and accuses him of being the traitor in their family. After the meeting, Perry visits one of the condemned testing facilities he saw earlier. He is interested in the building because he thinks it will be the perfect location for his exclusive rave party. Perry orders his minions to organize the party. It seems he plans to host a masquerade ball-themed party, which will be the first of many exclusive pop-up parties he plans to host from that day onward. While looking at the building, Perry suddenly sees Werner standing atop it. However, she disappears the moment he tries to get a second look. Elsewhere, Victorini and Alessandra's heart implant monkey trials fail. Victorini later lies to Roderick that things are going well with her monkey business. To her surprise, Roderick wants to fast-track things and move to human trials. He gives her a 6-month deadline, immediately unsettling Victorini because she knows the implants aren't ready yet. Sometime later, Perry asks his brother Leo to help supply him with happy pills for his party. Being a supportive brother, Leo hooks Perry up with 2 of his best suppliers. Meanwhile, Camille orders her assistants to continue investigating who the traitor is in their family. On top of that, she also tells them to dig up dirt on Depan's whistleblower. Returning to the present, Roderick is haunted by Perry's ghost while he talks with Depan. He reveals he has cadasal, a type of vascular dementia that leads to him having horrifying hallucinations. Roderick has spent millions on clinical trials to treat his health issues, including Victorini's experimental heart mesh. It turns out that Roderick is desperate for Victorini's experiment to succeed. Sometime earlier, Perry goes to Freddy's house to deliver some documents, but meets his wife Morella instead. He gets the hearts for her and invites Morella to his exclusive party. Elsewhere, Tammy hires a woman for her husband. She then gets off by watching them romantically interacting with each other. On the other hand, Camille decides to soil some sheets with her 2 assistants simultaneously. Perry's party begins, and as expected, plenty of people attend, including Morella. Perry himself is shocked to see Morella there and goes to greet her. However, she simply pretends she doesn't know him while complaining that she's been waiting for a minute already and the bartender still hasn't given her anything to drink. In a room somewhere in the building, Perry records everything going on in the party. It seems he plans to use the footage as leverage to extort his guests. He even plans to use Morella's footage as a way to destroy Freddy's life. After taking some special Fruit Loops, Perry and his girls rejoin the party. During that time, he encounters Werner, dressed in a red cloak and wearing a skeleton mask. Perry can't resist getting curious and wanting to meet her since she's the only one he doesn't recognize at the party. The two end up in a private room where Werner urges Perry to call the party off. However, the warning goes over his head as he's too caught up in the moment. Werner leaves Perry behind, and he tries to look for her but fails. As the party continues, Werner orders some staff to lock all the exit points and leave the building. She extends the same warning to Morella too. As scheduled, Perry orders one of his girls to turn on the sprinklers because it will signal the start of the party's main event. Perry looks up as the sprinklers are turned on, excited for his special moment to finally begin. The moment the first droplets of liquid fall, things start to burn. Since the building is cut off from any external water source, Perry ordered the sprinklers to be connected to the tanks on top of the building. Unfortunately, they didn't have the common sense to check what the tanks contained. It turns out that instead of water, the tanks contain acid strong enough to melt the flesh off everyone's body. Chaos erupts as everyone tries to get out of the room. However, since the exits are all locked, none of them can escape their gruesome fates. Perry and everyone else are reduced to nothing more than lumps of flesh on the floor. Werner stands over Perry's melting body. She then kisses him goodbye and puts her skeletal mask on his face. What did you guys think of this series? Should we cover more? If you're familiar with Edgar Allan Poe's work, it's basically a lot of his short stories all tied into one series.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.